And good evening and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and it's a joy to bring back after too long Barbara Neff, who's a hardworking events coordinator for the City of New London and does a terrific job, and welcome back.
Thank you very much. It has been a long time.
And looking forward to getting the update. It's the season's just kicking off, Memorial Day weekend, the beginning of summer, and so I thought it would be appropriate to have you come in. And it was nice to cross paths when you came into to Ace Hardware the other day, and boy, you have an opening, and you'd be great. Fortunately, you had the time to come in and visit for an hour.
Yeah.
So what do we got cooking here? You got big early summer events coming in, and what do you project for what's going on here in downtown? Because I mean, leadership says that London's happening, so you're the one who makes it happen.
Well, this was a perfect time for me to come on because tomorrow we have fireworks.
Well, that is apropos.
Yeah. So we are very happy. During COVID, we reached out. We didn't have the SAILFEST fireworks, and we reached out to Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation, and we asked them if they would do a couple smaller shows, and they agreed. And so they also agreed last year, even though we brought SAILFEST back, and even though we're having SAILFEST this year, they agreed to do a couple shows. The City Center District, which is the business owners in downtown, threw in a little bit of money. So instead of having 2 shows, we're going to have 3 shows. We're going to have 4 shows of fireworks this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So tomorrow is what's called Let Loose. So it's called Let Loose Thursday is what we're calling it. Let Loose Thursday, because it's on a Thursday night. And so we're going to have it's a reggae theme, so we have a reggae band out of Hartford coming down. We have about 5 food vendors coming in. We have Foxwoods coming in. Now, Foxwoods is so much fun. They come down and they have a booth, and you have a wheel that you spin, and everybody wins a prize. So how can you beat that? So we'll have fireworks.
So the vendors, where do they set up?
So this year we're going to set them up on State Street. So the event will not be like it was for Eat in the Street. It will be on State Street in the Parade Plaza. And then the fireworks are going to be 8:30, and we're going to do an earlier shoot than we typically do because it is a school night still.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So this be every Thursday, or?
Nope. So this is going to be it's going to be the first Thursdays of the month. So, but we're not going to do it in July because we have SAILFEST fireworks in July. So we'll have June 1st is the first Thursday. We're going to have the reggae. SAILFEST, we'll have July 8th, we'll have fireworks. August 3rd is the first Thursday, so we're going to have fireworks for that. And then September 15th, which is the celebration of Latin Heritage Month, which is actually a Friday because September 15th is the kickoff. And we're going to do fireworks with that this year. And that's the added show that we're going to add this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got the other aspects of those programs in place as well, or you just know that you've got fireworks, or is there a theme for each of these?
No, so there's a theme. So August is locally sourced. So it's local musicians will be performing, local food. We have a whole list of local food the restaurants will be serving. And we have local art. So we're going to have a local artisan fair. And we're going to bring local artisans down to sell their goods for that event. Yep, so that's the local one. And then September, like I said, is celebration of Latin heritage. And so we'll have a salsa band. Sometimes we have Peruvian dancers. We have, a DJ, and we'll have fireworks for that. So, yep.
And will all of these be centered on the Parade Plaza as well?
Yes, they will. Yep. So those are my firework events. I also have a Christmas in July event, which we started last year, which is a lighted boat show. So we're looking for anybody who has a boat that would like to put in it. There's no fee. They just have to email the office, and we can tell them how they can participate. So you could decorate your boat. Last year we have the Thames Yacht Club had 18 boats. We have the water taxi as the lead boat, and what we do is we work with the Salvation Army to bring kids from the community out onto the water. We have Santa Nolan, who is on that boat, and he will be on that boat again. We're also working to put a band on a barge off the waterfront that weekend. That's on Saturday. And then we have some other, we're working with a group to have they're called, what are they called? The boards with the paddle boards, I guess they're called paddle boards. So we're working with a paddle boards to have a group of Santas come on the paddle boards.
Sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds terrific. Now, you said you've got local artisans. Now, that's artists, not necessarily musicians, or you got a mix of musicians and artists?
No, we're doing artists. So I'm working with I met last week with the New London Arts Council, and to get their artisans to participate in a booth for nothing to come down and sell their wares. Yep.
That's fabulous. Now, is there anything that you've got geared up for waterfront activity?
So it's hard for the waterfront because we do have the construction. It took a lot of the waterfront space that we had with the Coast Guard Museum.
Down by the city pier area?
Yep. But the New London Curricks will be running their regatta again, and that is on July 29th. July 29th, they'll be running the regatta again. So the Currick Club will be running off the Custom House Pier. They have different teams from Baltimore, Philly. I don't know where the other team usually comes from. But and they come in and they race on the waterfront, and that's a day event down on the Custom House Pier.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, is the it's funny because I just I haven't wrapped my head around what's going on down there on the other side of the tracks yet. Is it going to give you an opportunity to do anything on the waterfront this year? Or are you basically, the mindset is to move up onto the Parade Plaza and do what you have to do?
Yeah, we're sort of moving everything up to the Parade Plaza because next year we're probably not going to have much of the city pier at all. So to get everybody used to going to the events at the Pier Plaza, at the Parade Plaza. So myself and other coordinators talk about like what's better than the waterfront or the Parade Plaza to do events, and there's pluses and minuses on both. So it used to be that the city pier had a stage, so that was a plus. You didn't have to rent a stage. You could just use the stage that was already existing. Electricity was there. Bathrooms were already there. And so the only problem is you can't see the event if it's happening. In the Parade Plaza, what I've been doing is there's a little step up. If you look right down Bank Street, there's a pergola there with some benches, and it's raised a little. So I've been using that as sort of the stage area. There's electricity there, and the city brought 2 porta potties and located them over by the Nathan Hale Schoolhouse. So now if you drive down the street, you see the event, maybe you stop at the event. The electricity's there, there's some bathrooms, and we probably, like I said, next year we probably won't have the stage has already been taken out down there. So like for SAILFEST, I have to bring in a temporary stage to put at City Pier because we really lost a lot. We used to have, for SAILFEST, we used to have the Custom House stage. That was our main stage, but now we have a restaurant there, so we lost that whole area. We used to have the City Pier stage. Well, we lost that because of the Coast Guard Museum. So now we're putting the stage up at the Parade Plaza. We're bringing in a big stage up there. But we lost our other stages because we used to do the Custom House Pier, the City Pier, and the Parade Plaza. So we do children's entertainment at one, we do Latin at a different one, and then we'd have the main stage. So we really lost 2 stages this year. So what we're going to do is we're bringing in a temporary stage that's a smaller stage, and we're going to put it on City Pier, and we're going to have a few bands down there on Saturday, and some salsa and gospel down there on Sunday for SAILFEST. So
now, is you're going to be having traffic blunted during your events, or
we are not. So what we did during COVID is the mayor came to me and said, like, what are we going to do to run events to help give the businesses business? So I had come up with Eat in the Street, where the businesses could come out, people could walk up and down the street, they could keep social distancing, we could spread everything out, and for COVID reasons. Since COVID's gone, we really don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to we can get vendors closer together, we can get people closer together, so we're just going to do it at the parade, and it won't be all the way up and down Bank Street. And that's also why the name changed.
Any action or reaction from the restaurateurs? I mean, did they enjoy the eat in the street, or was it the inconvenience for them?
No, they all were very happy about Eat in the Street. It was a boost in business for them. Hot Rods was very thankful for it. The social actually one night had to close down because they couldn't keep up with the amount of people they had in there. So they had to close early. The church that's located on Bank Street participated also. So it really worked. It did what it was supposed to do. Now I went back to the businesses and I said to them, what day would you, because that was on a Wednesday, what day would you like me to do the events? And they said, a Thursday. They said, we really don't, they're doing well on the weekend, so they don't need the business on the weekend, but they would like an extra day. So they thought that Thursday was the best day to do it. So that's why we changed the event to Let Loose Thursday. And then we added a few other things. Like I said, we're doing the Christmas event. I'm also doing a pirate event. We did a pirate event last year. What day is that? August 19th is a pirate day where we're bringing in actually a boat on a trailer. We have some pirates that come in. We do a map that you go around downtown. You turn the map in. You have to get the map stamped. You turn the map in. It goes in for a drawing for 6 people for a 2-hour sail on a sailboat that works out of the waterfront. And we have pirates that go into the bars and restaurants and things like that. And then the bars and restaurants also have specials in there and things like that. So, so we have that event. And we're going to work with the artisans again. And we're going to do an open, what's it called? Open studio. It's called Open Studio. And it's an open studio stroll. So if you're an artisan and you don't have a business in downtown, then the New London Arts Council is going to team you up with a business downtown to put your wares in, and people can go and stroll in the different businesses to see artisans, whether it's someone from Norwich or somebody from Mystic or something like that. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, with New London Main Street, they've shuttered. Has any of the things that they were doing for events, have you picked any of that up, or are they not being done?
No, I've picked those up. So I am doing the food stroll. It was my first time doing the food stroll last year. And so I did it last year. And instead of doing 2 food strolls, which I didn't think was fair to the businesses, is I'm doing 1 food stroll in the fall. So we'll be having that event on October 10th. And then I did a restaurant week in April. So in restaurant week, we advertised all the restaurants that participated in the food stroll, and we posted their specials. We did a press release. We made stickers for every business to put in front of their business so businesses knew. We did social media around it. So, yeah, and so some businesses did really well with it. Some really saw a boost in April when it's typically a slow time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I took that event on. And then years ago, probably in '96, I used to do the Christmas tree lighting, and I'm back doing that event because that was a Main Street event. I had stepped away from that, and now I'm back doing that event.
And where is that going to be done?
So the City Center organization purchased a Christmas tree, which we've had in the Parade Plaza for years. And the City Center, we put that up, pay someone to put it up, and all the wreaths downtown. And that'll be in the parade. And then from 5 to 6 o'clock, we have local entertainment, usually kids groups, a dance group. We brought Santa in for the last 2 years. We brought Santa in with a Jeep parade. So the New London County Jeeps all line up, and I had a sleigh made, and Santa comes on the sleigh on a trailer behind a whole bunch of Jeeps that are all decorated for the holidays.
Well, you got this mapped out between now through the end of the year here.
Well, the new thing we're doing is Kwanzaa. So Riona asked me to do something for Kwanzaa, And so I researched and found out that Kwanzaa has a Kenora. It's like a menorah, but it's for Kwanzaa. 7 candles, red, black, and green. And I had it commissioned out of Virginia, and it stands probably about this tall. And the guy drove it up. And so now we have a Kwanzaa event on December 26th where people can come out, and I work with Gene Jordan from the NAACP, and they run the ceremony for that event.
Wow, you've got a lot going on here.
You've got Halloween. I still have Halloween too.
And we haven't discussed SAILFEST yet either.
No.
Have you noticed? Is there a discernible difference in terms of human activity with some of the new housing, either in the central business district or just outside of it, like the docks, and we got that new building going up on Bank, and some of the other buildings I think have new apartments in there. So
I know I make sure that I know like the management of the Beam and the dock. I know them both. I went down and introduced myself. They let me put posters up in there. They have community rooms. They let me put posters in the community rooms, so all the people down there know what's going on. I send them emails on things that, if things are happening downtown, to let them know, the management, so that they can pass it on to the people that live there. Connecticut College, we see a little influx with them, but now it's summer, unfortunately. But we did see an influx. I worked with Connecticut College. We sold them 30 tickets for the food stroll.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you do anything interactively with the Guard?
So I work hand in hand with the Guard. They have these posters, both these posters, big, large ones in their windows. They're actually a sponsor, an in-kind sponsor for SAILFEST. So their logo will be on our website with a link. They have a band coming in. We're not doing SAILFEST on Friday this year. So we're promoting, they have We Are Giants, I think is the name of the band. And so we're promoting that band that's coming in on Friday night of SAILFEST as the thing to do for the event. As well as Ocean Beach, I think, has a band, and so we're promoting that too. So we're promoting what other people have because we're not doing anything on Friday.
And that's something new then, isn't it, to not be on Friday?
It is something new. Last year we were on Friday, just the waterfront. This year we decided that because...
Is that your decision, or was that the city's decision?
It was my decision, but it was in cooperation with the city. We know that we're very taxing on the police and the fire, and so you can't take out Sunday. Once all the vendors get set up, you can't just give them one day. So we said what we would do is we just wouldn't come on Friday. Now, I have had vendors that say that they wouldn't come to the waterfront if they didn't have Friday, so I have lost a couple vendors, but we filled them in with some new vendors, so we'll see what happens.
Well, since we're on SAILFEST, which is kind of the home run of the summer, the big fireworks show, and
Connecticut's signature event, we like to call it this year.
Okay, I'll go along with that. But with the construction and other issues on the waterfront park, will there be activities in that area, or are you again trying to bring people up to Bank and State?
Well, we are bringing in amusement rides. They won't be as much, but I think we're going to be able to fit a carousel down there. I think we're going to be able to do that. We are going to bring in the Amistad, so we'll have that. We're bringing in the Army National Guard Bridge Brigade, which has been down on the waterfront. We're bringing in Coast Guard Auxiliary that'll be on the waterfront. So we'll still have the waterfront will be filled. We do have City Dock down there that'll have live music and food down on the other end. We have a 100-person dinner down on the Fisherman's Pier, which we'll be doing on the waterfront. You can buy tickets online.
Correct?
Yes, that's the far end.
Be acclimated.
Yep, that's past the City Dock, and we sold out. We sold out of that last year before SAILFEST even started. Those tickets just went on sale, $85 for a meal, and front row fireworks tickets right in front of the barges. It's one of the best deals in town, and people love it, and they come back year after year for the event. So the waterfront will have things on the waterfront. There will be vendors. We have new vendors that'll be down there. We're putting a small stage down there, so there'll be a small stage down there. So there'll be things going on. Something new at SAILFEST this year is we're going to do an antique car show on Sunday. So on State from Gene O'Neill up, we're bringing in cars 1965 and older.
When you say up, that means up toward that courthouse.
Yes, correct, by the guard. So it'll start.
And that part of the street will be shut down.
Yes.
For that.
Yes. Yep. So that's something new. We're really pushing we find that Sunday's really a New London day or a community day, a family day. So we're really trying. So what we're doing is we call it, Sunday is a local day. So the stage has all local music on the stage. And then we have a pirate invasion, which we've done for a few years now, which kids love. We pass out 50 foam swords to kids, and we bring in pirates, and they have to fight off the pirates. So we do that. We're working with New London Youth Affairs to come in to do activities for kids, free hula hooping. We're working with New London Rec, now has a new bus, and they'll be coming down and doing activities for kids. So we'll have, free things going on, free face painting on Sunday. We're also going to, I think, I'm working with Curtis Goodwin. I think he has some drummers coming in, and I think there's a new plaque going on the waterfront for the Black Heritage Trail. So a lot of things going on.
Now, with the reduction in stage space, how are you going to handle your music for that?
A lot of people got turned down, Marty, is what happened.
Well,
so
folks. Do you know who's coming? Or
I do know who's coming. So we typically what we do is we get an electric press kits from anyone who'd like to participate. There is a SAILFEST entertainment committee that consists of 4 people, and they go through You email us at sailfestentertainment@gmail.com, and the committee members go through the press kit. So typically that's what we do. Unfortunately, we didn't have, we had to turn people down because we didn't have as many stages this year. But we are kicking Saturday off with Soul Factory, which is a 9-piece band. Braden Sunshine, who was local. He's in that band. Let's see if I can run down who we have. We have James Burke has a band, looks like the Lookalikes. They'll be performing. Frank Calamaris will be performing. Brian J., who's also a New Londoner. Andrew Camacho. Those guys are all New London bands. They'll be performing.
Tommy McKissick, is he participating?
He is not. Let's see. Andre Eddies and friends are participating. Ethan Cash and his father, Cash and Cash, they're performing. Who else is performing? The Julios, Big Lux, and Tony Marshall. Big Lux plays a violin. He's a local. Shaded Soul. Who am I missing? Oh, Branded Country will be performing. We have another Irish band that's performing. So we have everything.
An eclectic mix.
We do. We have Irish, we have country, we have soul, we have hip hop, we have R&B. We really have a mix, and that's what that's what we try to do. We try to make sure that if maybe you didn't like the band going on now, if you wait 45 minutes, you'll like the next band.
Now, will the Hygienic also be having music? And I realize that they're independent, but I suspect that they're working with you.
Yes, they do. So they will be doing their acoustic music festival that they do every Sunday, and they haven't booked Saturday yet. Typically, we used to put our Latin music on their stage, but this year we're going to put it on. On Sunday. We're going to do gospel on Sunday down at the City Pier, and then we're going to do Latin. So.
Well, that's quite a mix. Now, one thing last year that I think it was last year that I noticed, I go down on Saturday just to kind of see what's going on, and usually in the early or afternoon, but you only had vendors on, I think it was at one side of the street on Bank, which I was surprised at. And with the squeeze on the waterfront, are you going back to two sides? You're staying on one side?
So that was a
What's
request.
going on?
That was a request from the city. They request that we only do one side, and so that's what we did. We are now going to go back to two sides. It will not be full two sides. We'll still leave some space, some gaps, but it will be two sides. Something, I don't know if you noticed last year, but down in front of the Firehouse Gallery, John Johnson's gallery,
Yep.
something new last year was the Woodworkers Show. And we're bringing that back. So it's all woodworkers that come out and sell their wares. And so that was something different last year, and we're bringing that back too, the Woodworkers Show. I guess that it was pretty successful, and that's on Saturday.
Okay.
Yep. They actually had a gentleman who was cutting with a chainsaw right there where you could watch it, and he made a lighthouse. Yep. So, yep.
Now, do you your vendors, you're getting a lot of repeats? I mean, they've been coming for years and years and years, or you find that there's a high turnover? And how far in advance do folks or vendors need to reserve their space?
So I have vendors that have been participating in the event longer than I've been running the event. I have vendors that are now third generation that are coming back to the event. So we have vendors that come back every single year. They want the same spot. People know where they are. They call the office, want to know if they're going to be there. One is Jungle Juice, so they come back. They're three generations. Terra's Fried Dough, which is our fried dough vendor, they're three generations. We have, who else is? Chicken on the Stick. They've been coming longer than I've been doing the event. Gina's Foods has probably been doing it. That's Greek. He's been doing it as long as I've been doing it. I brought him in. He's been doing it quite a few years. Siri Grill is one that's been coming back. Goodway Bakery, which does rum cakes. They've probably at least 15 years been coming to the event. So we have vendors that come to the event every single year, and the vendors are not from around here. So a lot of these vendors come from Florida or Virginia, and they come here for the show. To get into SAILFEST, we asked you, it's competitive, so we only have so much space. So we asked that we send out in January a reminder to our vendors. You have until April to sign up for your spot. After you don't sign up for your spot, we open it up to other participants.
And there are fees associated with the space, I would
Yes,
assume.
yes, there is fees.
Is that public knowledge?
It's $600 for a merchandise spot, and it's $700 for a food spot.
Now,
unless you're a local. So we have a tiered pricing. There's
when you mean local, I mean like a local business on Bank Street?
Yep.
Or if
yes. Yep.
What about nonprofits?
Nonprofits pay half price. So nonprofits pay half price. Locals on Bank Street, you can either take the spot and you can become a DNLA member, and then you get a discount on the spot in front of your place. Or if you don't want to take the spot, you don't have to take the spot. Or if you don't want to be a DNLA member, then you can take it for full price. So we have the artisans. You apply through the Hygienic. It's $175, and the Hygienic runs the artisan block in front of the Hygienic all the way to Pearl Street. And that's a fundraiser for them. So we don't get any of the funds for that. It goes right to the Hygienic.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, the demand, and I think that's terrific. Now, just recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, Ocean Beach had a huge boardwalk sale.
Yes, they did.
As a matter of fact, it was bigger than ever. I mean, I think it was triple the size than they have normally done. I mean, do you get any of their vendors that are wanting to get in on SAILFEST? Or
the problem is their vendors only pay $25.
Well, I recognize that there's a significant difference in fees. That's why I asked the question. Or whether or not that there might be a much larger audience to sell their wares to. I don't know.
We've gotten a couple of them that I've been to that show, and I've passed out my card to some of them that I think maybe could participate in our event. And we've got a couple of them, but it's a lot different show. I mean, it's one of the things that...
That's a craft show.
Yeah. The thing is I'll have people that'll come in the office, and I get this all the time. They come in the office and say, like, I make this great macaroni salad. I want to sell it at SAILFEST. Everyone says I should be selling it at SAILFEST. And I'm like, that's great that you have this great macaroni salad, but you have to be able to sell it outside and keep your hot food hot and your cold food cold. And you have to be permitted through Ledge Light. So when you're, and this is true with restaurants too. You'll have a restaurant that say, I want to come out and I want to do burgers on the street. And I'm like, that's really great, but you don't have your refrigerators. You know, you have to rent refrigerators. You have to bring a generator. We don't provide electricity. You have to bring you have to keep your cold food cold and your hot food hot. And you're in a 10 by 10 spot. So I've seen very successful restaurants that cannot make money at SAILFEST because they don't.
You mean on the street?
On the street. On the street. Because they cannot, it's not the same as doing it in your restaurant. And it's just different. It really is. And so, but I know that there are restaurants in downtown that do very, very well at SAILFEST. Hot Rods do, most of the restaurants downtown do extremely well. The biggest problem is to get the help. You have to have enough help to pump out your food as fast as you can pump it out for that weekend.
Speaking of help, how do you manage with your help to put this thing on? I mean, is it paid staff, volunteers?
I am extremely lucky. So I have a woman. I used to, before COVID, I used to have interns come into the office, and since COVID, that hasn't happened. I was offered one this year, but her schedule didn't work with mine because I was taking a class on Wednesdays, so it didn't work. So I have a woman. You're
not cutting class tonight, are you?
No, I'm all done with it. It was a day class, by the way. So I have a retired woman who comes into the office a couple days a week and works in the office from like 10 to 12 a couple days a week, and so I'm lucky for that. I have a staff of probably 35 people, all volunteer, that come in on their off time to the office and do work that needs to be done. Basically, most of it I do myself, but I do have, I couldn't do the event by myself if I didn't have the volunteer staff that I have. The volunteer staff that I have one guy that has been volunteering for 18 years. So the same with my volunteers. They come back year after year to volunteer. One of the gentlemen that I have came back last year. He worked on SAILFEST 23 years ago with me. Worked with me, got married, got divorced, came back. I have other people that just take time off their lives on the weekends and just come in and help. So I'm very, very lucky because I have kids that are in college, that are out of college, that still come back.
Yeah. Yep. Now, if folks are so inclined to financially support this event or any of the events that you've outlined here,
yeah,
is there opportunities to do so, and how?
There is, and so you can email me. We have sponsorship packages that we can send out. Whether you're a sponsor on our T-shirts, you can be a media sponsor. We get 258,000 hits on our website. Back in 2018, we did an economic impact study. It was very interesting to me. So I don't know how much do you think SAILFEST brings into the economy in this area? This was done by a third-person company. It was not ran by us at all. So how much do you think?
This study, I think, came up when I was on council. But
it might have been, but you probably don't remember it.
And I don't, to be honest with you. So you're going to have to refresh my memory.
So it was amazing to me that it came back, the numbers it did. $58 million comes into the community during SAILFEST.
London or the Southeastern Connecticut region?
In New London. Well, let's go New London and Mystic. So it's New London, Mystic area. $58 million it brings into the community. Every people that come to the event, The majority of them have come 11 times or more. So people come back every year, which is great. When you have an event that's 44 years running, the biggest thing is how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep people coming back to the event?
The fireworks help, I think.
I agree with you. The fireworks do. But when I have new vendors that are selling $20,000 worth of product in 2 days, that doesn't help. That doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt at all.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a beer tent?
We do have a beer tent. We're doing something different this year. Where a beer tent's going to be at the Parade Plaza. And we did this last year. We worked with Tox, and so Tox Brewery, which is on Broad Street, is bringing in a SAILFEST beer. New this year, we're bringing in Truly's, we're bringing in Twisted Tea, and we're bringing in Sam Adams. So not only will you have craft beer, but you'll also have 2 other options that we've never had before. We've never done anything other than beer. And so the Twisted Tea and the Truly's are something new this year.
And is that consumed in a confined area, or can folks wander around downtown?
No wandering. So you have to show an ID to get in. You get bracelet. If you have a backpack, we'll probably ask to search it because we don't let any other alcohol come into the area. And then you purchase tickets and you get your beer. So we know exactly what's in the area.
What kind of permitting does that require? Is the state involved with that?
State is involved with that, yes. Yep. So the police chief has to sign off, the city clerk signs it, the Office of Development and Planning signs it, the fire department signs it, and then it goes to the state of Connecticut, which signs off on it.
And do you know what its hours are? I mean, you're not competing with late night bars.
Oh, no, I do not compete with late night bars. So what we say at SAILFEST, we want the bars to make the money, but we want you to be able to have a beer while you're listening to our music. So we run our beer tent from 12 o'clock till...
As in noon?
Noon, yes, noon, 12 o'clock noon. And we run it until our last call. We shut it down at 9 o'clock. So before the fireworks is last call. And that's on Saturday. Is it open
on Sunday?
And Sunday it is noon also. Till 5 at night.
Okay. And what time does it shut down on Sunday, the entire event?
The event shuts down at 5 o'clock.
And I'd just like to give kudos to the city, the police, fire, public works for the yeoman effort. I mean, because virtually everybody's working.
Yes. I mean, I'm working with Lieutenant Rogers this year, who's
our hometown hero for the bridge fire.
Excellent. Him and I have met face to face. We've talked about things that are being done. I've taken recommendations from him. We're great relationship with him. Working with the fire department, Chief Curcio. We have unified command meetings with 25 different agencies around the area that we work with.
How directly involved do you get with that, or is that done by the chief of Curcio and Chief Wright, and they coordinate those efforts, and you just know it's being done?
No, I'm involved in it. And so we have our first meeting in April, and then we meet April, May, and June. So we have 3 meetings. Chief Curcio runs the meetings, and he sends out all the invites. And then they're usually, half an hour meetings, and we go through what our security plan is.
Yeah. So. And folks should feel well in advance secure that this is a safe event and it's properly staffed to nip in the bud perhaps any early digs that may come from different quarters. It happen from time to time because it's New London.
Well, it's sort of funny because last year there was something brought up about the safety of the event. Basically, we're a quarter mile. That's as big as we are. The event's a quarter of a mile. We had 86 cops working in a quarter of a mile. And it wasn't just New London. We have Amtrak cops that we bring in. We have mutual aid that comes in. We have state police that come in. We have New London that comes in. So I think 86 officers in a quarter of a mile is pretty good protection. And then the other thing that was brought up is when the mayor came out and said, well, we've been working with Homeland Security and FBI, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, Oh my God, you have to work with those agencies? FYI, we've been working with those agencies since 9/11. Since 9/11 happened, we've been working with those agencies. So this isn't something new that just happened. For years, we've been working with these agencies.
Yeah, well, we're still a high security port. I mean, we're building submarines across the river. There's a base up the river. And
Correct?
Coast Guard Academy. And will the Eagle be in port for the event?
Eagle is never in port for SAILFEST. It's always at Swab Summer, so it's always out to sea.
Are there any ships or tall ships coming in?
The Amistad. The Amistad will be at the Custom House Pier.
Is that in coordination? They're supposed to be making a trip to Norwich, I believe.
They already did.
So they've been there and
Yes,
gone.
they've already been there and gone. Actually, the Amistad's probably going to come in the end of June and stay through SAILFEST.
And that'll be it in this area, to your knowledge.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And their financial situation is stabilized to your... They've had their issues over time.
Oh, well, I think they're on the state's budget again, so I think they're doing pretty well. And then we have the water taxi. So we have the water.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yep. So we have the water taxi that if you just want to get out on the river, you can do that. They're changing the name of it. It's ran by the water taxi, but it's a hop on, hop off bus. I mean, hop on, hop off boat. And so you can go over to Groton, you can go to Fort Trumbull and to New London. They also doing a fireworks cruise. We're working with another boat right now, which until the agreement's signed, we're working with another boat to possibly do another firework cruise too. So you might be able to get out on the water if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Now, I forget how many years ago it was, and I don't know if it had been repeated, but you had tremendous success running a train into New London for the event.
Yes, that's good. You remember that. Yes, so we run a train out of New Haven into New London.
Is that Shoreline East train?
Yes. Yep. And so that train comes in. People jump on it, all the stops, and then at 11 o'clock after the fireworks, it pulls out and goes back. So that's very popular. Yep.
So how many trains leave? I mean, is it
just one?
Just one.
Just one. It was funny. One year it was so popular that they had to stop and put on more cars on the train because it was so full.
They guaranteed everybody a ride. I mean, they didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody got left behind.
No one gets left behind. Unless you want to be left behind, I guess.
That's. It sounds like it should be a lot of fun, a little bit different due to circumstances, as well as you say, try to keep things fresh. I think that sounds exciting, and again, a tip of the hat to the Mashantuckets for their ongoing support financially for the fireworks, which probably wouldn't happen without their help.
Right. Yep. We're very lucky to have them that support the New London community.
Yeah,
Four times this year.
Yeah, I mean, I recall years ago, I mean, when in the early years, I mean, MCDC was the sponsor, and they worked with Groton, and each community picked up half the tab.
You're right.
There was extensive...
So that was a $20,000 show.
Extensive fundraising efforts going on, trying to beg, borrow, and steal to get those things done. And then the tribe stepped up, and it's been... pretty darn good ever since.
Yeah,
Not that it was bad before, but it was just they stabilized things.
Right. Yeah. We're very, very lucky to have them in support, and they come back every year, and to actually have them add 3 more shows to New London is just fantastic.
Now,
they're a good partner.
Do you have any coordination with Groton on this specific event?
They come to the Unified Command meetings, so yes, we definitely coordinate with Groton.
And so for security issues, that I mean, you're not getting involved with events or this, that, or the other thing.
No, but we know what they're doing. They know what we're doing, so that there's collaboration there. Yep.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask before we run out of time here, one thing that's been pretty popular the last few years is food truck nights. Are you doing any of that kind of stuff this year?
So I'm not. I used to do... Before COVID, we did some food truck events. I had 30 food trucks down on the waterfront a couple times a year. And we got a few complaints from merchants that it was competing with their business. So we quit the food truck business And since then, the food trucks have moved to a different area, and they're doing food truck nights themselves.
In New London.
No, nope, out of the area.
I mean, I see up on Coleman Street at one place, a former
Yeah,
auto
they're not.
dealership.
That was during COVID. They're not doing that anymore. That was only during COVID. Yeah. So no, these guys all got together. They saw how successful that the New London one was, and we weren't doing the New London one anymore. So a group of them got together, and they're running food truck events themselves. Yep.
Well, I've got mixed feelings on I can understand a restaurateur feeling the competition, but the event would bring people, and not everybody's going to eat at a food truck.
That event brought 7,000 people into the city. There were lines all over. As you said, there were people that wouldn't eat there. We didn't serve alcohol. There was opportunities to pass things out to the people. There was opportunities to advertise to the customers down there. They could have had a spot down there, but so it was one of the events that no longer happens.
Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, I know when I drive down through New Haven heading toward New York, I mean, that one area with all the food trucks, it just blows my mind that they're all there and they all seem to be making money because it's packed.
Yeah, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And it's funny, so I did the food truck events for a couple of years, and what I did is I started having themes. So one year I did a bacon theme, where every food truck had to have something that had bacon on it. And so it was either
bacon makes everything better.
Right, right. And so it's funny because I'm friends with all these food trucks, and it's funny that they now are doing the same thing. They're doing a theme night. They're doing a bacon night or a chocolate night or something. And I said, Jesus, you know. So, yeah. So it was a good event.
And what about for a number of years, COVID's thrown a little curveball into my memory bank here, but you had competition barbecue. I mean,
yeah.
Is that still on the event table, or is that something that has moved on to greener pastures?
Yeah, so we used to do the barbecue event, which was great because it was the state of Connecticut's barbecue cook-off. If you won here in New London, you then got to cook for Kansas City barbecue. Every state sent somebody, and our competition, whoever won, went from our state. So it was a really great event. We had some difficulties down on the waterfront because you had to stay overnight down on the waterfront. We had some barbecuers that got food stolen from them.
No, that's not good.
Nope. And so we got a little bit of negative press in the barbecue group. And so the idea was not to do it anymore.
That's unfortunate, but I mean, I give you kudos for mixing it up and not being afraid to try.
Yeah, I mean, it went well for a few years, but
And some things just run their course as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't stay hot forever for one reason or another.
Right. So that's why we tried something different with the Christmas in July. That's a new event. The pirate event is a new event. So those are new events that we're bringing in instead of some of the other events. So, yep.
Well,
I also work with the restaurant on the waterfront to see what they're doing so that we can collaborate and make, if people are coming to our event, that they're still going to the restaurant down there or in the city or things like that. So there's collaboration with everybody. I collaborate with the water taxi to make sure that they're doing fireworks cruises or bringing kids out. I collaborate with the Recs department. I collaborate with the artisans. I collaborate with the business owners downtown. So this collaboration with no matter who it is to say, how does this work for you? How can you get involved? How can, is the opportunity there for you to come and have it successful for you, whatever business you have, nonprofits, whatever it is. So.
Now, do our historical sites, do you work with them? Are they all open and they maintain some semblance of continuity with hours of operation? Do they do any special events, perhaps for SAILFEST in particular, when you got the big crowd?
Well, the Shaw Mansion, I don't think is open as much as it used to be.
Well, it's more of the historical society.
Exactly. Yep. So the Custom House, we always try to work with the Custom House, make it a spot on the pirate map, or You know, if they're doing something, we make sure we promote it. The Nathan House Schoolhouse does not have a lot of staff, so when they're open, we promote that they're open. The Old Mill, I think Judy Cox runs that. She's open like 4 times a year. That'll be open for Open House Day, which is June 20th. So that's going to be Juneteenth. So Juneteenth is happening, and the Hempstead House has a whole range of events happening there. And the Old Mill will be open. We're running a free shuttle to all the historic sites that'll be open that day. So you can get on at the Custom House. You'll be able to get on at the Old Mill, the Hempstead House, the Shaw Mansion, or down on the waterfront.
Get down to Fort Trumbull? Or
Yep. That bus is not running to Fort Trumbull, but you'll be able to get on the water taxi to go to Fort Trumbull. So that's for Juneteenth or Open House Day, which is Connecticut Open House Day. So we work with them for that. But if there's any, if there's any of the historic houses that want to come out that have a table, we offer that to them for free. We don't charge them in any of the events. So we do work with them also.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing that we did the year that I served at the helm, which is a dozen years ago. It's hard to believe. And that was through your efforts, was to bring in one of those trolley buses, which we did one night. And there was also events going on at the academy that at that time. I don't remember precisely what it was, but
right.
But I think that something for that to be effective, it's got to be, you have to have it all the time. You just can't run it once a summer and expect people to know that it's there. They got to know that that's part of the what's going on in town.
You're right. We did do that. You have a good memory. I forget some of the things I do. But yeah, that was, and it's funny because people say, well, you don't have a big following yet at Christmas in July. I go, it's a brand new event. It's only happened, this is only the second year. So like every event, like a business, you need 5 years to get it on people's brain, to get it on their schedule so they know to come to it. Same like you said about the trolley, like it would have to be on a regular schedule so people know that they see it, that it comes, things like that. So, yeah.
Not everybody's able to hoof it around. I mean, having that little extra bit of transportation, I think would be beneficial. That's just one man's opinion.
You must remember when they ran a trolley downtown, not years ago, but when I had the store, there was a trolley that went around. I can't think of the people that ran it, but they had the Gazette newspaper.
Yep.
And they ran a trolley for a few years.
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough to remember the trolley tracks.
Oh, yeah. No, not that.
My father remembered the trolleys, but I remember the trolley tracks. Well, Barb, our time has exhausted here, and I want to thank you for taking an hour to come into City Focus and share what's going on in the city this summer. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot going on, and may you achieve much success.
Thank you. Well, let me tell you, when people say there's nothing to do in New London, they're not paying attention, because there's always something to do in New London.
Very good. Well, thank you much. Thank you for watching City Focus, folks, and we'll be back again next week. Good night.